Good morning, everyone. What a beautiful day it is today. We're going to melt some metal. We're going to head out to the garage and we're going to melt some aluminum down. I have a couple things that I want to make today for a friend of mine, actually two friends of mine. You'll see very shortly. So let's head out to the garage and I'll show you what I'm going to make. All right, guys, first things first. In today's video, I'm going to be melting down these aluminum can tops. All these tops were cut off of cans that were donated to me and cans that I drink myself. These are super good aluminum, much better than the can themselves. So now that I show you what I'm going to be melting, let me show you what I'm going to make. All right, I have these two patterns here I carved out with my CNC. This one you cannot see because I do have a thick layer of plaster coated onto them, and this is just your regular drywall mud. Now this one you can see because I did not put a second coat on. It says Bob's Garage, and this is a piston. If you guys are familiar with automotives, this is a piston from a car. I did not coat the sides or the back, just the front. So you'll see afterwards the edges will be a little bit rough because of the sand, but it's easy enough to just file down. And same with the back. I'll just sand that down, no problem. But real quick, before I bury this in sand and perform the lost foam casting process, let me just show you a clip of me actually making this pattern. So I'm using a Fox Alien 4040 Masuder to carve out this foam. The foam is actually polystyrene XPS. I purchased this foam from Home Depot in 2x2 sheets. They do sell it in larger sheets though. After the foam is carved out, I always apply some joint compound to it. But first I spray it with soapy water. The soapy water helps reduce the surface tension from the foam. Now I gently apply the watered down plaster to the foam. After the face of it is coated, I then blow on it and try to move around the plaster to get rid of the air bubbles. Now I have to attach a sprue. I'll just use Aleene's Fast Grab Tacky Glue to do this. After about 24 hours and the first coat has now dried, I will now add a thicker coat of plaster to the pattern. I don't normally apply it this way. You can see here I'm just pouring it on. I'm not a big fan of this. Again, I don't normally do this. And you'll see right now all the air bubbles that will float to the top of the plaster as I'm moving the plaster around onto the foam. If some of the air bubbles get trapped underneath of the plaster, or some people call it drywall mud, the aluminum after you're finished the cast will now have a little bubble, and that's where the air bubble was trapped. So I always try to get all of the air out, all of the bubbles out from underneath of the plaster. After 24 to 48 hours, the foam is now ready to be buried in dry sand. This is the lost foam casting process. Just place the foam in a bucket and fill it with dry sand, and the sand has to be dry. And fill the bucket all the way to the top. I'm doing this one a little bit different than normal. Because my pattern was longer than normal and my sprue was sticking so far out of the top of the bucket, I added an extra can. Now I'm going to put the pouring basin can inside of that can. This looks like it should work fine. Now I just have to add sand in between the inner can and the outer can to really lock it in place so it doesn't move during my pour. And when that's all finished, I'll head outside and light the furnace. Alright guys, the sand mold is all ready for the lost foam casting. And now I am preparing my crucible. I'm going to take this old slag out. Now, we're gonna load it up with some soda can tops. We're gonna get this thing started up, and once it gets red hot, we'll start adding some more. Well, guys, I got molten aluminum all the way to the top, so I think it worked. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it worked. We'll have to wait and see. Alright guys, so this is cooling off. I made the second one right here. I'm not going to melt any more of the can tops. It took quite a while for this small crucible, so I'm going to melt this piece of pipe right here. It's ready to go. Well guys, there's two things I hate when casting metal. One is the wind. I hate it when it's windy. And the second thing is when it looks like it's gonna be a nice day. You get all these clouds coming in and you don't know what's gonna happen. So, today was a day. Today was a risky day to melt metal, I suppose. I'm gonna wait a little bit longer and I'll pull these out and see how they came. See how they came out. All right, guys. So it's been like an hour or two. This is like 78 degrees. It's not too hot. I would have taken this out outside, but it's still really, really windy. The sun did come out, but I'm just gonna dump it on the floor instead of pulling it out, and we'll see how it comes out. All right, guys, it looks like it came out really good. Let's get up close. Ripper's Garage. Even the underline, it all came out really good. So I'm going to dump out the next one, see how that one came out. And then I'm going to take this to the bench, cut that off, wire wheel it, and we'll see what they look like. All right, guys, here is one of the casts from today. Actually, I'm lying. It was yesterday. Today is the next day. I should have actually cast today because it is much more clear skies than yesterday. It's a little windy. You can see the trees. It's probably about as windy as it was yesterday. But this came out super good. The back, again, I didn't coat the back with plaster. You could see all the little bumps. I'm not gonna spend time filing away. Even the sides you could see here. But the face, this is really good. Now, the other one looks just as good. Look at this, Ripper's Garage. I think both of my friends would love both of these when they get them. They don't know I'm even making them. It's going to be a surprise. So guys, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, comment below, subscribe. Stay tuned for the next video.